So, my initial reaction to what I'm about to read was, really? Seriously? So I'm just going to read it out. So this is someone's life. So of course it's very serious. It's just, it's just maybe on an extreme side. So the quote says, I've been married for 25 years, but my husband has never given me a single cent. He earns 4 times my salary, but he cannot even buy me sanitary towels, even when I put it in the shopping trolley. I have since decided to move on without him. To be able to just gauge this, we're going to assume marriage means actually marriage. Married might be come with stay, maybe in her definition or whatever the case is, but for argument's sake, we're going to say that they're married.
I think no matter what 25 years relationship.
But the thing is that the right you feel on someone is definitely on a different league when you're married. So, girls, tell me, what do you think?
A whole 25 years, you got me messed up.
I can't roll my eyes enough.
Yeah. Like, for real.
They'll get stuck.
And then, first of all, like, sanitary towels, that's like a necessity,
Yes.
Like they're just going shopping, you're getting your groceries, you put sanitary towels, and then like you were saying, Joanne, he's like, no, she'll pay for that.
Yeah.
No, you got me messed up, especially after 25 years, even if it's a come we stay type of situation. Like after 25 years, okay, well, it's on both sides. Because even the woman, after like the couple of years that it bothered you, why didn't you communicate? Hashtag communication, that's key.
Yeah. Right.
Like, why didn't you communicate to him that it bothered you? Now, a whole 25 years later, now is when you're bringing this up? Like, I would have left him too, because I'm fed up. But
before 25 years.
After the first couple months. Get
But
outta
you know
here.
what? You know what? All this, what this boils down to for me is just mismatched expectations, because people enter marriages or like unions or relationships with just completely different understandings of what a husband or a wife is supposed to do. And you have to realize that people were raised completely differently. Someone was raised with maybe mom and dad, someone was just raised with mom, someone was just raised with dad, and people were taught that the male roles and the female roles, and maybe they understood it differently. So he might not necessarily be a stingy guy. Maybe in his home, the mom was the one who earned more, and so the mom used to pay for everything, and so probably she has never had that conversation of like, I actually expect you to do this and this and this. When we were getting married, and I'm a Christian, and when we were getting married, we were taught in our premarital counseling class again. Wow, I reference those guys a lot. I learned stuff, you guys.
They'd
But
be
we were
happy
taught
to know.
the role of a husband is four P's. So 1 is to be a protector of the home. 2 is to be a provider in the home, which means his God-given responsibility is to provide for the home. Doesn't mean that now, obviously, in this modern society, there's like, we can cost share and everything, but like ultimately, it's his responsibility to ensure that his home is taken care of. 3, he's supposed to be a prophet, which means he's supposed to speak positive things into his family's life. Like, babe, you're going to make it. Babe, you're going to do it. Babe, you're going to, positive things. And the 4th thing is he's to be a priest. So he's supposed to pray over the home. He's supposed to like present the family's requests to God. So obviously, at the point at which we're getting married, we both had that understanding of like, this is your
What are the
role.
women's roles? Do we have 4 Ps?
Lord, I knew that.
We don't have, exactly, right? We don't have 4 Ps, but like, it's the obvious ones of like, if there's gonna be kids, you're gonna be the one to give birth
The
to them.
nurturer one.
Exactly, and of course those things vary. Like in a home now, you can sit and you can decide that, okay, no, maybe he doesn't want to work and I have a high-flying job, so I'll provide. But the point is that those are like, in the Bible, those are the God-given
Those are the ones you've chosen to follow in your marriage.
And you see now, for them, probably, they just hadn't had that conversation of like, this is what I expect you to do as my wife. This is what I expect you to do as my husband. And we've agreed about it. And now it's a problem.
Okay, but
25
you know,
years.
the thing for me is,
That's as long as Dina's been alive.
it is. It's long as I've been alive. This woman has wasted my entire lifetime. I'm sorry. I don't want to say wasted because maybe she loves this man. But the thing is like you knew who he was at the beginning of the relationship, because to me it's irrelevant how much money he makes at this point, whether he makes more or less than you. What it's more about is if these sort of provisions are part of like your love language, for example, if being able to do things like real raw necessities. It's not like pads are a luxury, gentleman, in case you didn't know that. These are things that she does actually need to take care of the house. Because I'm just wondering, how does he dictate now what she gives for the house? How is he okay with buying food to feed them, but now she's gonna bleed everywhere. How does she get
she has a
clothes?
job.
How
She has
does
a
she
job.
get clothes for herself, kind of thing? But the thing is where do you draw the line of like, all of these things are yours and your responsibility to buy because this is entirely your separate life, but I also want to be intertwined with you in an intimate way for over 2 decades.
Yeah, so to be clear, she has a job.
She
So it's
does.
not that she's destitute or, if she doesn't buy the parts, she
Still.
won't be able to buy it. So this is not a matter of need. This isn't a need matter. This is the sense of I want to take care of my woman.
Yeah.
This man has got zero of. And I will add to a point which you made about how people are raised. There's somebody who I dated who's the situation in their household was clearly they had a lot of wealth in the beginning and then things got a bit tough. So, and they got tough when he was in an age where he was able to understand that things are different. So his ideology when it comes to money is that it's always going to run out. There's never going to be enough, and it's very panicked. And it's panicked because
I relate to
he's
that.
seen that experience and it's been very tough for him. So the relationship with us was very much everything was being looked at from like the penny value. It was, it was so stringent. And I
relate to
don't
that.
come from that ideology. I come from ideology that, God is going to provide and we always make it through and it's always worked out for us. So I don't have that tension with money. So I had to not see it from a point of he's so stingy. I had to see it from a point of that his relationship with money is fairly strained. So I have to find a middle ground. And I told him, I was like, since I've been with you, I feel some kind of fear when it comes to money because, as you say, the man tends to have the most, there's an energy they have that sometimes can overwhelm you personally. So my ideologies about money started shifting and I started finding myself worrying and is it gonna work out because of how he was, you know? So if that's the reason why your man is like that, it's 25 years and she's left him, so I mean, it's whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
But
She's
if you
got
are
her
in that
advice.
situation, sometimes it's a matter of conversation of how was it when in your home when it came to money, so that you can understand where he's coming from. And tell him, for us to be able to build a life, this is our middle ground. Because I can't be over here stressing and we are okay because you have some fears about money. You've got to work on those personally and meet me somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
But also, just to quote something Naomi, WAMBOE, is always saying, she's like, you have not because you ask not. But I
Clearly
find
she's
it so,
asking.
but I find it so, like, funny sometimes when people DM me or they send me messages and they're like, oh, my husband didn't do this or my boyfriend didn't do this and it really hurt me. And I'm always like, did you tell them that you wanted them? Because, sometimes you can be shocked. Maybe this guy is just living his life. In fact, you can find maybe he's happy that, she's able to take care of herself and he's thinking, oh, wow, she must feel so empowered that she's able to take care of herself, I remember when my husband and I first got married or started dating, he had never celebrated a birthday ever in his life. Like growing up, they never used to celebrate birthdays.
Yeah.
But to me, in our home, birthdays were the thing. Like it was like Christmas every single March when it was my birthday. But so our first our first time together when it was my birthday, he made such a small deal of it, and I was just like, does this guy even love me? Like, does he even know what a big deal it is? But then I realized, he wouldn't know because I didn't tell him. So subsequent birthdays, I would tell him, babe, my birthday is in a month from now. I would really like if you do something big. I expect a gift. If you can take me on a staycation, that would be fantastic. If you can make a big deal, if you can also post it on Instagram, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Then now my expectations were, he knew what I was expecting. So there was no room for disappointment.
Yes.
Let me tell you,
You
Jo,
communicate your
Communication.
desires, and
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
and be willing to fight for your desires.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
just because you say I want this, and when they don't do it and you allow it, then maybe that's probably how this came about. Because 25 years, we can assume that she's at one point or another said, I
That's
would like this.
2.5
But then
decades.
when they break it and when they don't do it how you want it, you allow it, you let it slide. So then it becomes 25 years. As much as we are being shocked about this 25 years vibe, 25 years started with one. It started with a couple of months. It started with 2. It started with 5, 10, 15, 25, and we know we've been in situations where even those couple of months, you knew you should have got that person together.
Absolutely, and
together.
that's the thing. There shouldn't be this sort of ideology where you carry throughout your entire relationship. Oh, I can change this person. Oh, we'll grow together, something like that. Yeah, absolutely. You shift in a relationship, so to speak. But you marry someone because you enjoy the pillars of who they are as a person. Yeah. And if a pillar of who he was a drastically stark difference relationship with money than yours, then that was something that you kind of had to address at the very beginning. I think now what this is more about is it's like, okay, she's already decided to leave him. How do you move on from this situation now? Because at the end of the day, like, he's going to be out of your life. You've had 25 years. Now we need to talk about your relationship with money because we need to get you out of that house, girl.
I mean, it's not even about the relationship with money because obviously he never shared a single cent with her in the whole 25 years. So, I mean, by all means, she's making money. She good at this point in time. She left. She's all good. Like now it's just a matter of now in the next relationship, what do you want it to be? And are you going to be the one to communicate and tell your man, this is how I would like it to be. And if that's fair with the both of you.
It's almost like the phrase is not just necessarily you have not because you ask not. It's you have not because first you ask and then you don't work, okay? You have not because you don't work for it, okay? Even in a relationship, you have to get out there and be like, listen, this is something I've asked for and I just want to reiterate that these are the things that I expect. And as you continue to work, if they fumble or something, they're not necessarily getting the picture. You're like, this is the person I want and he's going to do the thing that I want because this is important enough for me to be willing to work at it and not compromise that this is something I want.
Out of the four of us, the person who I imagine in my head would find themselves in this kind of a situation is Lydia. Because Lydia is such a, I feel like you'd just be like, yeah, but he loves me.
Not have found.
Like,
I have found myself in this situation. The only shock here is the 25 years part. Because that person who I'm telling you as far as that the relationship with money was like that. They were like, everything was so intense. Maybe when we go out and like dinner and dates, he'll pay. But gifts,
None.
anything pertaining, removing money from his pocket, anything big towards me, that was an issue. It was like, it's depreciating. It's like, it's, you know, and that can absolutely happen. And I know we're screaming so much about the 25 years thing, but whatever it takes for that process to be changed in your mind, because it took me a year. It took me a year and an intense amount of emotions about feeling like I had neglected my worth, I had neglected my desires, I had neglected everything I wanted, only working around what he wanted, how he was raised, his views on things, and not ever really fighting for my own. However long it takes you, as long as you get here. Because let me tell you, sisters and brothers out there, I will never again. If it's not working the way we are, then it's not working.
Well, you know what is interesting about this, though, is I also have a very similar relationship to money. I have a tough time giving gifts. I have a tough time doing anything extravagant. I always feel like money is about to disappear from my hands. For me, the hardest part about relating to the story is like when I see something related that I relate to as a necessity, like body soap, like undergarments, like sanitary towels. I'm just like, this was a necessity that someone that you loved, and maybe that's just part of my love language, is provide for me the necessities of my life, and then we'll be happy and we'll be good kind of thing. 25 years seems just crazy to go, not necessarily without, but just have someone not get you in that way.
Question. So, okay, it's good. We have someone on the other side.
Yeah, I'm very much on the other side.
So on the other side, how do you reconcile if you are dating someone who isn't like you? How do you meet them in the middle to show them that, yes, I've got a strained relationship with money, but this is how I'm meeting you in the middle because I know that you don't have that relationship and I want you to not feel like I'm stingy.
Yeah, I think for me, because like Jasper isn't necessarily far out onto the opposite.
Okay.
And even the people who I really necessarily surround myself with don't have the relationship as extreme as like I do as a fear. I think the best way to do it for me is I acknowledge the fact that it is a fear. Because if you're just going about your day and saying like, no, this is just the best way of being, that's the problem. When it's like a point of pride and instead of like, my money management is a muscle I need to strengthen, because that's how I see it. It's like money for me in my relationship is a muscle that I need to grow as I continue to get more money and need more money and use more money.
Right.